In Word 2013, we've seen another large step in combining features. The main features here that we're going to look at that have been combined together are the print preview and page setup options are now effectively in one place. If we go to File and Print, which is fairly common practice, you'll find that the screen has turned into a preview side. So this side here is the preview. We can actually navigate through each of the pages of our document. We can zoom in, closer and away. We can make the document fit on the screen. So we have effectively print preview. However, along with our print preview, on the left-hand side here, we have our print options, where we can choose to print a number of copies. We can choose our printer from the drop list of printers that are installed. And then we have a whole set here of print settings: print all pages, print the current page, custom print, document info, only print the odd pages, only print the even pages. We also have an option for choosing a number of pages to print. So if I only wanted to print page 5, so the page I can currently see, I would put a 5 in there. If I wanted to print 5 to 8, I will put 5-8. I have an option here for how am I going to print, one-sided or manually print on both sides, in which case I will get prompted for putting the second piece of paper in. Uncollated or collated only really applies if you're printing more than one copy. As soon as you start to print 2 or more copies, you'll need to decide whether you collate the document or whether you print all the page 1s, then all the page 2s, then all the page 3s. It's fairly common to go with collated. However, with a one copy of a document, it makes no difference. We can also control the page orientation from this same screen. We don't need to come out of here and go back into the Layout tab. We simply choose Landscape from here, and it will take an immediate effect on the document. And you can see in the preview, it takes an immediate effect on the document. Or we can go back to Portrait. We can change the document paper size, A4 to letter, and it will have an immediate effect on the document. And you can see the number of pages has actually gone up to 9. We can even control the margins from here. Instead of custom margins, I could go narrow, which will also have an immediate effect on the document. And you can see we're now a lot closer to the left side, top side, bottom side, and right hand side. And we can zoom print. So we can have more than one page on a page of paper. This is quite useful if you're thinking of printing smaller to use less paper, or if you're printing and it wants to look like a little booklet. So although we can design the document in A4 or letter, when we come to print, we can then print 2 pages on a sheet, in which case, although we have an 8-page document, it will print on 4 pages. Or we could go 4 pages per sheet, and you can see how it's going to put them, 2 up and 2 underneath, 6, 8, 16 pages per sheet. Bear in mind that the more pages you squash onto one piece of paper, the less legible it will become. So fairly common is 2, because that halves the amount of paper you're going to use immediately and still has a readable document. Once you start getting to 4, 6, 8 and 16, really all you're using the printout then to do is to actually demonstrate the content of, in this case, our manual, because you're not really going to be able to read that very well. So that's number of pages per sheet. You can even scale to paper size. So if our document is not the same size as our printing piece of paper, we can scale it down. So if, for example, I was creating a document in Word that was quite large, I could make it scale to fit on letter, and then it would come out on my piece of paper in the printer. So unless you've matched up the paper size of the document to the printer, then this would be quite a useful option to be able to scale down to the printer size, or even up. A3 is larger than my current document, and it will scale up to print out in a bigger format. Currently, I want no scaling because I've made the paper size, which I can control here, the same as the printer size. At the bottom of this left-hand setup area, we also have page setup that will take us into the same page setup options that we saw earlier when we went through the page layout. So pretty much the document setup can be done from the print screen. So I can make changes to the setup here without having to go back into the setup. I can preview those changes on the right to see if I've done the right thing, and then finally make a decision on pages, copies, and then hit the big print button here. It's not small, it's now big, and it will then send the correct number of copies, collated or not, and the correct pages off to our chosen printer. So that's the combined print, preview, and setup dialog box. If you make some changes here and you preview differently, but you don't want to print, then you simply choose the little back button to take you back to your document. but any changes you have made in the setup while you're in the print dialog box will still have taken effect on the document.